Pop quiz. You're a highly educated king in the 15th century ruling over a country that utilizes a written system that is not only imported from abroad, but is complex, completely illogical, and not at all compatible with your language. Most of your population cannot read or write, and because you're academically inclined and wish to reverse this trend, what do? You create your own alphabet. 안녕하세요. 환영합니다. 저는 크롬씨라입니다. 오늘은 한글 이야기합니다. Now, if you're like me, you were no doubt first introduced to Korean through the absolute tidal wave that was Gangnam Style, and more than likely completely butchered the lyrics while trying to sing along to it time and time again. Little did many of us suspect that reading the actual lyrics would be a lot easier than anticipated thanks to the Korean alphabet. This alphabet, or Hangul, was created by the fourth king of the Joseon dynasty, King Sejong the Great, in 1443 CE, with the precise intention of increasing literacy. By this point in time, the Korean language was written using a system of imported Chinese characters, or Hanja. However, one major problem is Hanzi being developed in China was, not surprisingly, ideal for writing Chinese. Trying to carry over a system of writing with a language that rarely had words longer than 2 syllables to a different language that had not only different grammar structures, but with words that can stretch out immensely due to grammar or social context in a conversation, as well as different pronunciation rules, you essentially almost had to learn 2 languages. Japanese took a similar route with adopting Chinese characters, which it still uses to this day, but big shock, is still one of the most complex languages to learn how to read. They did simplify some characters to create hiragana and katakana syllables to accommodate the features of Japanese grammar, which are not present in Chinese grammar. However, the result is still a massively complicated system of languages to learn. Our new friend Sejong, however, decided to make things a little bit easier and create a brand new writing system from scratch, one that was logical, and on top of that, easy to learn. Now, at first glance, Hangul might seem just as complicated as any one of its neighbors. However, being a constructed script that was designed with the sole intention of being easy to learn has some quite unique features to it. After all, the phrase, "A wise man can learn Hangul by the end of a morning, a stupid man 10 days," didn't come from nothing. There are quite a few logical shortcuts that can really accelerate familiarity with the script. To begin with, the consonants. There are about 14 consonant letters, which were designed to reflect the shape that your tongue and mouth will need to create in order to pronounce them correctly. Admittedly, some of them are a lot less straightforward than others, but you can still learn from an easy association. To start off with, a G sound, which has the shape of a gun, and being pretty similar to the K sound, it decided to stand out just enough by adding an extra line in the middle to it. The N has the cartoonish resemblance of a nose, or the M has that of an open mouth, if you look carefully enough. The D does rather look like a door, and the T decided to take the triple line appearance, or maybe a sideways trident, if you will, that lost its handle. The B is shaped just like a bucket, and its close relative P looks like an abstract form of a pillar. Then, when you get to the S, it looks like someone doing splits, or if you decide to give him arms for jumping jacks, you've got the J. Then we got the ch sound, being so similar, but just different enough that we'll just put a little line on the top of it to make him stand out. The sound, which seems like a combination between the L and R, you could say has the outline of a rattlesnake. Then the NG, or like a guttural sound, likes to do his own thing, having a shape unlike any of the letters. However, he's always up for being friendly with more people. You can just put on a hat to become an H. Now along come the vowels, all noteworthy for their straightness, but being quite shy, they always like to pair off with somebody, never standing on their own, you know how it is. Now the NG, always the classic socialite, is the first prospective partner, but he always keeps quiet and lets his prospective date do the talking. However, it's when vowels tend to be paired off with another consonant, and he finishes last, does he have to make some noise. Among the vowels themselves, you can see who works out and who lies about. I is simple enough to recognize, like a limbless tree, making a similar line, E. But where a line sticks out on the right, we've got an A. Switch over to the left side, that makes an O. However, you add an extra vertical line on the right to that, and you've got an sound. And then, keeping those 2 trees together, and you move the sidearm from left to right to make a bridge between the 2 of them, and you've got But wait! Where is the Y sound? It's nowhere to be found among the consonant letters. Well, to make this little sound, all that's needed is to add an extra line to the previous vowels, and bingo! A, add a friend, becomes ya. O becomes yo. A turns into ye, and so on and so forth. Now that's half of the vowels, the ones standing up, but what about the ones lying down? Our first simple single line is the result of the tree falling over and making someone underneath go splat. So the sound to make to that is ew. But like its upright counterpart, arms can sprout out on either side of this tree as well. When one sticks up on top, you've got o. Conversely, coming out from underneath makes it u. And just like the first round of vowels, you can add an extra arm to make yo and you. And would you believe it, vowels also like to go on triple dates as well with their consonant buddies. Pair o and a, and you've got wa. With o and e, we now made we. And as for the seating arrangement of this triple date, the consonants like to sit in the upper left-hand corner, while the vowels come together to form the lower right-hand corner of a square. And perhaps the most standout feature of Hangul is the block system for writing out individual syllables. For example, we can take a look at the word for Korea. Here, in the individual blocks of the word, we have a predictable pattern of initial consonant, vowel, and final consonant, if one decides to show up. Korean is also kind enough to make things a bit easier for prospective words by having the distinction of written spaces in between individual words, unlike Chinese or Japanese. And due to its nature as an alphabet, you can start writing foreign loanwords with remarkable ease all on your own. Whereas with Chinese, you would have to find the closest equivalent characters to try and sound out a word, or take the Japanese route and make yet another writing system to learn, because Japanese wasn't complicated enough already. And of course, this ease of writing foreign loanwords translates well over to writing your name in Korean as well. No more scouring the thousands upon thousands of Chinese characters to try to sound out your name one syllable at a time, or brushing your head over katakana trying to distinguish it from hiragana to remember how to write your name there as well. Just learn the one writing system and you're in business. Now, perhaps you can even read some of the lyrics from Gangnam Style, or one of the other K-pop bands you've been following. This is your resident Chrome Sealot, signing out.